I am Joseph Peroni.
Heidi Mancini.
And you are tuned into VegasAllNetRadio.com. This is the From Grief to Relief show, and we are heard live every Thursday between 2 and 3 p.m. All of our shows are archived for later listening. You can also buy the From Grief to Relief book on Amazon.com.
Our mission statement for our show is to share life experiences, love and courage, and strength to face life and its challenges. Every guest shares their journey through life, hopefully helping others to realize we all face the same fears and challenges. With love, hope, courage, strength, and support, we can help each other live authentic lives.
Paperback writer.
This is Joe Peroni.
Heidi Mancini.
And we are now live on the From Grief to Relief show. You can also buy the From Grief to Relief book on Amazon.com. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you today?
Okay. So,
yeah?
Yeah. Did you want to tell people a little bit about your bio? I've been hearing from people that they want to know a little bit more about you.
Well, I don't know. I guess I don't know what to say.
Did I catch you on that one?
Yeah, you kind of caught me on that one.
Okay, so you're a hairdresser.
So I'm a hairdresser. I've been doing hair for 25 years. I do color haircuts, men's cuts, hair extensions, keratin straightening, smoothing systems. I'm a mom. And let's see what...
You do figure shows?
I do figure shows. I compete. And what else, Joe?
Yeah, what's your new thing this week?
Oh, my new thing, I went to the school to see about getting signed up for college, and I'm going to not start until August because I have to get all my financial aid and stuff in order, but I was told I have to start from the ground up, which she said it's kind of like starting high school all over again. So I wasn't thrilled with that because I didn't really like high school, but she said because I'm older, things would probably go faster for me, and I'll be surprised at how fast I'll be able to learn because I'm more mature and
experience helps
and
a lot.
experienced. So that was a new thing I'm going to try, see how I like it.
So you're worried about how long it's going to take to get through school?
Yeah, kind of, because I don't know what I want to do, and I just don't, I want to kind of...
Well, let's say it takes 4 years. Is that too long?
No, it's not too long.
Well, what if you didn't go to school?
Well, if I didn't go to school, it'd be 4 years from now. I might be thinking,
right,
why didn't I go to school?
You'd still be 4 years older,
I'd still
right?
be 4 years older,
so
yeah.
you could either be 4 years older and not have a degree, or
right.
you could be 4 years older and have a degree.
True.
So the choice is...
Go to school and work on it. So I think I'm going to go psychology with a minor in nutrition, but we'll see about that. We'll see how it goes.
And so what's new with me?
What's new with you,
So I had to go to the doctor for the first time in like a million years, and
he has bronchitis.
Yeah, so
and lung infection.
So Randy got me back, I guess. He's our board operator here, and he got us back because we were coming back from Boulder City. We decided to play a joke on him. And do you want to tell the joke?
Oh, when we said to him about the we were kidding around with him and said,
No, we called him during the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to push the show?
Oh, Randy. Everybody, you have to listen to Randy from the Chill Zone. He's on every Saturday night from 7 to 10 p.m. live. And all his shows are archived, so if you want to listen to him later, if you for some reason miss the Saturday live show. And he has a very eclectic blend of music. It's very different, but Joe and I listen to it almost every Saturday and during the week, and it's very, very good collection that he puts together, and we think you'll enjoy it. So tune in to Randy on the Chill Zone every Saturday night from 7 to 10 p.m.
Yeah, so we called him during the show, acting like we were listeners, and we were just calling up to say, when is the From Grief to Relief show on? This show's boring.
I know. He was like, "Who?" I had you going for a minute, Randy, but
yeah, just
I couldn't hold on to it. I had to start laughing and tell him who I was. So
yeah, so he got me back. So I barely have a voice today.
You got the cold.
Yeah,
Joe's got the skeevy-jeevies or whatever they call it.
No, the bronchitis.
Bronchitis.
So part of it is that they want you to have a little bit of low stress. right?
Yes.
So this week I've been listening to a little bit more mellow music to put me in a less stressful mood. And I've been listening to a guy ahead. We got him in the background right now. His real name is Brian Patrick Carroll, and not too many people know who he is, but he's been making albums since 1993, and he actually has released 40 albums.
That's his real name?
What, Brian Patrick Carroll?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And he's been on 50 albums of other artists. So if you put it together, this guy puts out one album every 3 months for the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, people don't really know who he is. But he was also the guitar player for Guns N' Roses for 4 years, which they threw him out because he was basically taking over the band.
And he's kind of crazy looking. They call him Buckethead because he wears a bucket on his head and a mask.
Well, the bucket is the KFC bucket over his head. Then he wears a mask, so no one really knows what he looks like.
No.
So he's got this whole aura.
He reminds me of the guy from Halloween, Jason.
Yeah.
The way he kind of looks and the way he moves.
So this album in the background is called Colma. It's C-O-L-M-A, not Coma. Right,
Colma.
It's a small town outside of. It's in California. I think it's outside San Francisco, and it's a very weird place because the dead outnumber the living by 1,000 to 1. It's a place where there's like almost all and
dead
only
people?
cemeteries. So that's why this album is very mellow, very stressful.
It's very good too, by the way.
Yeah.
We listened to it the other night, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And his favorite song of all time not that he wrote, that he thinks is the best written song of all time, which is kind of weird, is When You Wish Upon a Star, the Disney song. Yeah, can you turn this up for a second just so people can hear a little more? All right, that's good enough. We don't want to put people to sleep too much. But anyway, that's what I've been listening to this week. So also this week, I want to do a quick summary of our Imago therapy that we did last week so we can set it up for our Imago dialogue conversation this week. And we also want to talk about the characteristics of a conscious relationship, which is really important. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, I want to make a few comments about the media and the news I've been listening to a little bit this week. And it seems like the only reach for these negative news stories. And this week, it's been all about finding the worst teenagers in the United States, right?
Yeah.
It looks like they're trying to grab ratings by grabbing the worst teenagers possible. So, you got a show called the From Grief to Relief Show. I want to talk about the inspirational stuff. But these people on the news, they seem to harp on the grief and the worst in people. Yeah. And so I got a few examples because this stuff is really bothering me this week. We got in Steubenville, Ohio, we got 2 boys who were convicted of raping a 16-year-old girl, and there was 2 other girls that were prosecuted for sending death threats to the victim. Mm-hmm. So now we're victimizing the victim on top of that. Yeah. So that's a big story. Also in Ohio, an 18-year-old male killed 3 students and wounded 3 others.
Gee.
And to make it even better, he walked into the courtroom for sentencing with a T-shirt where he wrote "Killer" across it.
Nice.
So they made a big deal about that this week. Also, the University of Central Florida, there was a student. He did commit suicide, but that's because his plot to kill a whole bunch of people was foiled by his roommate. But he actually had explosive devices and multiple weapons to try to kill people, so that was in the news. Also in Connecticut, 2 members of a high school football team are charged with sexually assaulting 2 13-year-old girls.
Wow.
So this week, basically what I'm saying is that they just harp on this negative thing, and they're talking about how the youth of America is terrible and there's no future.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So I thought I would do some searching here because I don't think that that's right at all. So here's some of the things that I found out. So here's the relief part, and here's the truth. Over the last 10 years, teenage murders have gone down, not up.
Huh.
And also over the last 10 years, rapes from teenagers have gone down also, not up. So the news is trying to enhance this, and I don't know why they think the negative is better.
I don't know either.
But none of this it happens on an individual basis.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But this is not, the trend line is actually going down. Now, unfortunately, suicides have slightly trended up since 2007. But before that, they were trending down for 15 years in a row. Now, they don't exactly know why, but number one, they think is because it's kind of trendy now.
Yeah,
It's this
romantic.
whole goth thing, this whole romantic
cut
thing.
yourself and do all that crazy.
And, that's part of it. But the other big thing is that there's a stigma attached to mental health illness.
Yeah.
And less people now are starting to get help that they need in terms of medications. Okay. There are people who do need medications, say for depressive disorders or bipolar. And they're not getting the medication they need. So you're going to see an uptick in suicides. So what I'm saying here is that this problem, although it is a problem, is easily solvable.
Yeah.
It's a solvable problem. And to make it better for us, because Heidi and I's experience this weekend was that we were at the Boulder City Scholarship Challenge, where we had we looked at teenagers, and I was a judge, and they were vying for money to go to college. And there were 13 students, and I could tell you these are the 13 brilliant kids.
Yeah.
They all had 4.0 GPAs. They were all involved in sports. They had to do an essay. They had a presentation. They had a talent portion of the show.
Yeah.
And they were great. There were 3 expert piano players playing classical music. They had a saxophone player. They had a cellist. They had a singer. She was great,
Singers,
right?
They all danced really
They
well.
had dancers, and these kids were amazing.
And then the way they write, too. That was the other amazing thing, that they had
Yeah.
to write a narrative. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These kids are, 17, 18 years old? And their language,
Some were
the way they
freshmen,
articulate
so they might have
it.
been 15.
Yeah, small.
Yeah, so of
Do we want to
course.
say their names? Do we want to say who they were?
That's going to take us forever, and
You
they're
think so?
underage, so I don't know if we have
Okay,
permission to
maybe
use their
not.
names. Well, if I get permission, I'll use their names next time.
Okay.
But trust me on this. The future is looking great from what I saw from these kids
Yeah.
from Boulder City. They're all awesome
But
in
you never
every
hear
way.
that, though. You always hear the bad stuff.
But of course, it has to take our show to mention the good. Because every time I watch TV, all I see is the negative, and it's really putting these kids in a bad light, and it really shouldn't be done like that. So that's my rant on that.
Yeah, it's true, though. Too much
So-
negative. Too much reality.
negativity.
Too much reality.
Yeah.
People need to stop it.
So let's do a quick summary of last week, just so people know what we're talking about once we get into the new stuff. We talked about imago therapy, and what is it when you look for a partner in a committed relationship? Typically, there's a blueprint, and that blueprint comes from your unconscious brain a lot, and obviously there's certain things like attractiveness that is part of your conscious. So part of what makes up the blueprint are we look for people that can help us repair the unfinished business of our childhood, such as if you have a distant parent. So you may go in one direction. Let's say you might look for another parent, a partner who's distant, just like your parent.
Right.
Or, because you're familiar. Or you might look for the opposite, someone who's very nurturing.
Yeah.
So it's, hot and cold, one or the other. We also look for people who can retrieve our denied selves, such as if you were growing up and you were told to be, say, seen and not heard, maybe there's a lot of things inside you'd like to talk about, you'd like to be more outgoing, but you weren't accepted as that in your family. So you might find a person, a partner, that you fall in love with because they allow you to be outgoing. So you're retrieving a part of yourself that was denied. Another thing is that we tend to choose people that have very positive or very negative traits of our caretakers, things that really stand out. And this works in both ways. If you have a very, say, strong type of parent, you tend to look for a very strong individual as you get older. On the other side of that, let's say one of your parents is an alcoholic. Unfortunately, they say 90% of adult children of alcoholics marry alcoholics.
Wow.
So there's a familiarity there, and they're always at the thing where they're trying to vie for the person's love.
Yeah.
And so they're used to that, so they go along with that. And you can replace the word alcoholic pretty much with any other dysfunction you want, and it still works the same way. If you want to replace alcoholic with a physically abusive parent, more for women than men, they end up being with a physically abusive husband, let's say. And it's something that they've seen and they're used
Familiar
to.
with, yeah.
So now, let's say you find your partner, Now, at the beginning, this is called the romantic love stage. So you got about 2 years of being in love. You know, people talk about that they love being in love.
Yeah.
These are the hormones working, and the hormones are there to try to keep it together long enough to try to work things out for a long term. So you kind of disregard the partner's negative effects or negative traits. You kind of overlook them. You know, so we call it the honeymoon stage. It's also known as the halo effect. You know, everything they do is fine.
Yeah.
You know, you make excuses for them. You notice that they drink, but they only drink
Drink a
kind of
little bit.
socially. They're drunk, but that's okay. You know, that kind of thing. So you kind of let that go. After about 2 years, the hormones start to wear off, and then you go, oh, my God, who am I with?
Yeah.
So then it gets to what we call the power struggle. So then you start to realize my partner cannot meet my needs, just like my caretakers couldn't.
Right.
So now we have a problem. You could either go fish, you know, try to find somebody else, or try to make it work, but end up going through a lot of arguing and then split up, right? That's what happens a lot. Or in imago therapy, they say this is very positive because you can learn to stretch yourself to meet your partner's needs. So in other words, you start to see the world through their eyes of what you can give and not what just you can get.
Right.
Because in the beginning, when you love your partner and you just like the things that they like in you, let's say you look at someone and you go, wow, they work out. Oh, I like to work out too. Or, you know, those types of things. They're Italian, so I like them because they're Italian. Right? They have that family-oriented thing. The person you're falling in love with is yourself. Because you're noticing the traits in somebody else that you have. But you haven't fell in love with the traits that you don't have, or something that disagrees with you, or something that's negative.
Yeah.
So until you find these negative traits and have tried to make them work, technically you're not really loving anybody.
Right.
You're just maybe infatuated.
In the moment.
So the relationship is the path to being whole again. That's what imago therapy says. So you can either keep the problem that you have, because typically you're going to take the same problem you have in you to every relationship you're ever in. So you have a couple of choices. You can either keep the problem you have, but you're going to have to change partners every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't keep trying to mold your partner into a thing because the problem's in you.
Right.
Or you can fix the problem, and then you can keep the partner that you have. And obviously in counseling or imago therapy, we would suggest you fix the problem.
Yeah.
So the imago dialogue is how we can get to fixing people's problems.
Okay.
In other words, okay, let's say, Heidi, you disagree with me in certain things.
Well, you already know my issues. I have a hard time communicating, so that is a really big thing for us. Not to bring that into the conversation, but yeah, I mean that's.
So they would say the primary tool then to having a good relationship is to be able to talk about that and to have an actual dialogue. Not you didn't do this for me and I don't like you. It's why do you do the things you do?
Right.
And sometimes you have to agree to disagree, and sometimes that's okay too.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to respect the other partner's point of view. So here's a good question for you. Can you actually win an argument with your partner?
No.
Why not?
Because why would you? Because then you're making your partner look, you're putting your partner down. It's not about winning. It's about coming to some kind of resolution.
Yeah, because most
if
people
you have to be
people
right,
try to win.
That means that you're making your partner, you're putting your partner down by trying to be right. Sometimes you just have to say, I agree to disagree, and that's it.
Right, but most people that are in relationships, it seems like they're trying to win an argument. You know, it's like I won that one.
Right.
But it's not what you're trying to do. Listen, if you're on a debating team and it's for points, you're trying to prove that your opponent their point of view is weak, misguided, wrong, you know, all the ignorant. But if you're trying to do that to your partner, there's no way your partner is going to have, you know, a good feeling about you. So it's unnecessary, and you can't do that. So the answer is no. You can't win a fight or an argument with your partner. That can't go. So one of the sayings is that you can either be right
Be alone.
Or you could be in a relationship. Which one do you
be
want?
right and be alone.
Or you
like,
could be right. You'll be right out the door by yourself. Is more like it. So you have to agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. And what you try to do is to seek a place where there's compromise, where both partners win. Mm-hmm. Now, here's something that's a really tough one. I'll do it right here live with you. Here's a little thing that Heidi and I have that's going to be a little bit of a situation that we need to talk about. I really liked high school a lot, and I'm sure Heidi did also. Now, my 30-year reunion is in October. Mm-hmm. I think it is, October. It's all the way back in New York, on Long Island. Mm-hmm. Now, Heidi... We're the same age.
Yeah.
So her 30-year reunion is also in New York.
In
July, but it's in Buffalo, right? I mean, Lockport, but we'll call it Buffalo for now.
Nobody knows where Lockport is.
Okay, so now here's the situation. Okay, if you're talking
Hi, everybody
about
in Lockport.
if you're talking about money and time, we have to come to a conclusion here. So we have to try to figure this out, right? In other words, to go on both reunions is going to be stretching it for money and time because of our jobs. Mm-hmm. So there has to be a compromise because it doesn't look like we're going to both. Because it actually looks like we're going to go to 4. And I'll tell you why it's 4. Because my reunion is on Long Island. Mm-hmm. But there's no way I'm going to go to Long Island with you without going to New York City with you. So that's like a whole extra, at least an hour and a half away by train or so, about an hour. And, time and whatever. Right. So that's logistic problem. For you, I don't mind going to Lockport, but let's be honest, you probably want to go to Niagara Falls, too.
Yeah, I would like to take you
and
there.
I have no idea how far away that is. So that's like 4 separate trips in essence.
Right.
So I don't know where the compromise is yet because we haven't really discussed it totally. Mm-hmm. But one of the ways to do that is to say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to me to get back for my reunion?
Right.
And I might say it's a 10. And if Heidi says that going back to her reunion is a 5, then I win this particular one in a sense because my need or my desire to go is much more than yours.
Right.
Now, if something else for you is a 10, then we would do that. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the bait for you. The bait for you to go back for my reunion is that you get to see New York City.
Right.
You get to see the Empire State Building, you get to see the Statue of Liberty, you get to see Central Park, and that's, now the bait for me, for you, is to be with a bunch of people I don't know in a reunion, which would be that way for you too, for me.
Right.
But I'm hoping Niagara Falls is worth it.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of the wonders of the world, they say. It is beautiful. But again, it's not the same as New York City, that's for sure. Each has its own thing to offer. I guess it just depends on what you're looking for. Now,
knowing me, if I went back to your reunion, I still in my mind would say, before I die, I'm taking you to New York City. Uh-huh. So I'd end up going back anyway. I mean, that's part of my head, too.
Yeah, my thing is not so much the reunion part. It's I want you to see where I was raised and what, it's because it is a little town. It's quaint. It's historical and all those things, just so that you get a feel for, me, as far as because I do have a small town mentality with a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where it comes from, and you're more from the city.
Well, I think you'd be surprised that the suburbs of Long Island is not what you think. It's not the big city.
But yeah, I would rather, if I had a choice, I would go to New York just because I've never been in New York City.
Oh, well, I have you on tape
Central
saying
Park.
that. But
I know.
I'm not going to force
this is in writing.
I'm not going to force it now because I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
I've already seen the Niagara Falls, and in my town, really, there's nothing there. You could blow through the town in a second, be like, I'm already at the other stoplight. You're kidding me, right?
There's
everything closes at 9:00 at night. We couldn't go out or anything at night.
It's the people that's more important.
But it's the people.
Yeah,
They're very
I understand that, and I'd want to meet them too.
Sweet.
So I'm not making light of that. I'm just saying.
Right, I know, but if you weigh it out, there's a lot more probably to do.
We might have to, go there, but maybe not for a reunion.
Right now,
for New York.
exactly.
I don't know.
Like an overnighter.
That's a tough one.
Fly in and fly out.
So we'll have to figure that out. But see, here's the thing about Imago dialogue. You have to get at the root of the problem every time you have a problem.
Yep.
And the reason for that is because you need to resolve the conflict and create a connection with the other person. In other words, I have to do my best to feel what you're feeling about why you would want to go to Lockport. and you do the same for me
Right.
wanting to go to Long Island and to New York City. You know, because in my heart, I know you'll love Central Park. That kind of thing.
For sure.
Now, what they say is that if you don't handle your conflict fully, they say 90% of arguments are actually stemming from resentments from your past argument. So if we don't handle it now perfectly, this is going to come up.
Keep coming back.
And it's not like we're going to talk about reunions all the time. It'll be, you stepped on me. You didn't care about my feelings.
Right.
I resent you for the way you treated me. So those things will come up. It won't exactly be reunion
issue,
stuff.
yeah.
It'll be other things, though. So that's why we need to kind of handle it. And both partners' points of view need to be heard fully and completely and respected. Really good therapist a long time ago, his name was Martin Buber. He called it the I-thou relationship. In other words, me, you. We're both human beings. Whereas in a lot of relationships, they call it it's I and it. Me, and then I try to control
the
you,
other
like
person.
Like you're a chess piece, like people do when they're at work, like a boss at work. And you can't really have a relationship like that.
No.
So speaking about agreeing to disagree, we have a song that says that. And this song is by Dave Mason, who is a founding member of Traffic, another band that I really like. So,
I've never heard of Traffic.
yes, you did. Stevie Winwood's the singer.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, you
Okay.
heard him. You just don't know. All right. So, do you want to sing this part here? I'll do the first line for you. I'm not going to sing.
Okay.
Because I love.
Yeah, I
this.
think you should sing, Joe.
No, we're not going to do that.
Come on. I hear you in the shower.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it. But anyway, I like the words. So the first part it says, "So let's leave it alone.
Because we can't see eye to eye.
There ain't no good guys.
There ain't no bad guys.
There's only you and me."
And we just disagree.
Here you go. We Just Disagree by Dave Mason.
Oh, I can't sing either.
Been away, haven't seen you in a while. How've you been? Have you changed your style? And do you think that we've grown up differently? Don't seem the same. Seems you've lost your feel for me. So let's leave it alone, 'cause we can't see eye to eye. There ain't no good guy, there ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. A place that's far away. How about you? Have you got a place to stay? Why should I care when I'm just trying to get along? We were friends, but now it's the end of our love song. So let's leave it alone, 'cause we can't see eye to eye. There ain't no good guy, there ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, oh. So let's leave it alone, 'cause we can't see eye to eye. There ain't no good guy, there ain't no bad guy.
This is Joe Peroni.
And Heidi Mancini.
And you are back listening to the From Grief to Relief show with Buckethead in the background. Yeah. All right, so let's get back to this imago dialogue. Very important. We can all handle the good parts in relationships, but the hard part is getting past the adversity. And if we can't talk to our partner, we're not going to get past adversity.
Nope.
And in every argument you have, you end up just throwing that little piece of it onto the wheelbarrow if you don't get rid of it. And it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And that's when people come to see a counselor and they go, I hate this person. I don't know how I can make this work. And that's because they have tons of material that they haven't figured out yet. So we're going to try to help you with that. Now, we have very strict rules, though. And that's one of the things is that when two people talk and there's rules, don't make it seem like there's something wrong with that. You know, it's sometimes talking is not that easy to do. Listen, there's a million sex manuals out there, and everybody thinks that sex is natural. So be okay with talking, too. There's a million talking manuals, too. Well, somebody should read a few, and somebody should put them into practice.
And not to cut you off, but they when you talk about these things, because I talk with my clients sometimes about it, and it's amazing because even in a regular conversation and throughout our day, when you tell people how I say them how they should have a dialogue, they're like, but who talks like that? And it's like nobody does.
And that's why we all have problems.
And that's why we have problems. And that's why you have problems in your workplace. That's why you have problems with maybe friendships, because we never have things clarified. We walk around personalizing things, or we attack people, or we're defensive. So this imago therapy can also work for all relationships. Obviously, it was designed for intimate relationships, but it'll help at your work too, and your friendships with your girlfriends and guy friends. I don't think guys have the issues though that girls have all the time, but
I'll let you say that.
Anyway, I'm just saying.
So here are some instructions for the receiver. Now this is difficult now. Somebody's talking to you, the receiver, the listener. So number one, you have to listen without interrupting. That's hard, right? Like you might be hearing something you don't like to hear. Right?
Oh God, yeah.
So now, while you're listening,
he's totally throwing me under the bus, everybody.
And while not interrupting, you're trying to listen to what your partner is saying and the motivations and the feelings behind what your partner is saying. So don't spend that very sacred time by trying to plan your response or a defense to shove it right back down your partner's throat. You need to listen to your partner. And you try to understand your partner's reality from their eyes. And no judgment. See, if you truly believe your partner is a malicious human being and trying to hurt you, you shouldn't be in the conversation anyway. And you shouldn't be in a relationship with that person. So assuming that this person cares about you and loves you, you have to understand that the mistake is just in the perception of both people. That's why you need to try to understand it from the partner's reality, not yours. You're two different people with two different backgrounds. So here's how we do that. It's called mirror. So you have to mirror what the person says. In other words, it's not your perception or your interpretation of what the person is saying. It's an exact mirror. So what you could say is, what I heard you say is, and then state.
Right.
Like, do you want to try something? Like, tell me how you feel about if I leave the dishes in the sink or something.
How do I feel?
Yeah, just make something up.
I don't know. I just feel like, what the heck?
No, that's not a feeling.
I get upset.
Just say
I get frustrated. I don't get mad about it. I just get like, God, could you wash the dishes? Is that just my job?
Okay, so what I heard
you frustrated.
What I heard you say is that you get frustrated and you get mad if I leave the dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
So then I would confirm with you. I said, well, did I get that right? Did I understand you completely?
Yes.
Then I would ask, is there more? Is there anything else that's on your mind about that you need to say to me?
No. What do you mean about the dishes?
Yeah.
Like, do I need to say anything?
Yeah, it's one subject at a time.
Oh, it just made me feel that you're inconsiderate, and like you're not thinking about me. Like.
Okay, so you would be mad, frustrated.
Yeah.
Angry. I forgot what I missed. See, I need to be a better listener.
But
but then I would So did I get all?
Yeah.
Did I get all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are happy with my understanding of what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Then so the first part, which I didn't do very well, by the way, I could do better if I'm not on the air in front of 30,000 people. But the second part to that, after you mirror what the other person is saying, what your partner's saying, you validate. So what that means is that I don't have to agree with the partner.
Right.
But I do have to validate their point of view. And if it doesn't make sense to me, I'll say, help me understand. Help me understand why. So let me start off with this. What you said makes a lot of sense to me because you have a full-time job.
Right.
And so if you were to come home knowing that I had come home first and there were dishes in the sink, it makes sense to me that you would feel angry and frustrated.
Okay.
So I validated you.
Okay.
Now, I could also say it a different way. I wouldn't, but I could. I could say, help me understand why you feel angry and frustrated when there was only one fork in the sink that I forgot, yet I actually did the dishes, and I also work full-time, and I did the backyard, and I washed the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could say something like, I mean, that's a little too accusatory.
Right.
But that would be the thing. Help me understand why you feel so much like that. I could take it from that standpoint. But either way, I'm being very respectful of you, and I'm not denying you your right to say what you say.
So what would be something you could say about me, seeing that we just picked on you? Say it on the
I don't
air,
know.
'cause
I'm
I can't say
unprepared. I
anything.
didn't think I was going to say that to you.
Seriously, there's nothing. I know there's things I do to irritate
Okay,
you.
I could say,
Like
when I come home,
terrible.
I like to talk to you about my day, and you kind of you're very quiet about that. So I could say that when I come home, you're the person I really want to talk to, and when you don't talk to me, you make me feel uncared about, like I'm not that important. So
Okay.
I feel uncared for.
So I have to say back to you, I understand what you said about
No,
that I
so
make you
when
feel.
when I come home,
when you come home,
I feel.
You feel?
Yeah, when I come, yeah, say it to me.
Okay, when I come home,
When you come home,
When
to
I-
me.
when you come home,
Yeah,
you want to talk to me
right.
and share the day, and you feel like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to listen.
And I feel what?
And you feel, I
feel unloved. I told you
feel
that.
unloved.
Okay, that's. But
Okay.
then you would say, "Did I get that right?"
Did
And
you
I
get that
said,
right?
Yeah, that's close enough. That's to my satisfaction.
Okay.
And you would say, "Did I get it all? Do you have anything else to say?"
Do you have anything else to say?
No.
Okay.
So then you would come back and you would validate. You would say that,
I'm sorry.
you want to be in a relationship with me. I know you love me.
No, wait. You can't tell me what to say.
Well, I'm trying to help you.
Okay. Yes, I love you, and I want to be in a relationship with you, and I don't mean for you.
No, you're supposed to validate me.
Okay. And I want to be in a relationship with you, so I will listen when you come home.
No.
So that you don't feel
didn't-
unloved.
No, you didn't validate me, though.
I didn't?
No. You would say, what you would say to me is that, I know how much you love me, and I know how much when you love someone, you want to share the day with me. That's how you show
Okay.
your love towards me. I understand that. So, I understand that you feel unloved when you do try to talk to me when you come home. And I'm on my Facebook with other people and not you.
Okay.
Okay? You validate me. You have to see it through my eyes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you don't have to repeat all that. But you would eventually.
Okay.
And then you would empathize. You could say, I know who you are and where you come from. And I could understand how unloved you might feel when I have my head looking at other people's writing and you're in front of me and I'm not listening to you. In other words, see, so
Yeah.
you empathize with me. You're not telling me to shut up and leave you alone.
Right.
Right? See, that would be accusatory, that would be angry, and that would make me want to fight. So this is easy because what you do is you mirror, you validate, and you empathize. So that's really hard to do, by the way. So here's some instructions for the sender. Now, if you have something that you want to clarify, that's something that's angering you, you have to make an appointment. Okay, you can't
Seriously,
just barrage
I got
somebody with
enough
stuff
appointments.
right 2 minutes before they go to work, or something like that, or when there's people around, or when they're at work. You know what
This
I'm
was
saying?
the receiver, the first one we were talking
First
about?
one was receiver.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I'm
the
writing this
listener.
down, Joe.
The listener.
Okay.
So here's the sender. So you make an appointment because you want to do it at the right time, and you want to create space. In other words, no kids, no cell phones, nothing like that. So you're
Okay.
just two people talking, trying to come to an understanding. Now, all the issues in a conscious relationship are discussed in a respectful manner. So, in other words, no ambushing, right? And you have to make the partner feel safe by starting with a statement of intention. And this means that you don't want to start off by yelling at somebody and the person is thinking in my head, I'm not listening to you because I think this is followed with, and I'm leaving. Or, something to that effect. So that they're already shut off.
Okay.
So you might want to say something like, I'm sharing this with you because I care about this relationship.
Okay.
And the other person will now listen. It's safe to listen. One topic per conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to dump every single Christmas present in the world in somebody's lap, right? So it's one thing at a time. No sniping, which means just taking little shots here and there. It's one direct conversation about what's angering you or bothering you. And you have to use I statements.
That's true.
I statements. Very important. Here's an I statement. You can say something like, I feel uncared for when you blah, blah, blah. When you leave dishes in the sink. Not, you make me angry. Blah,
Right.
blah, because nobody makes you do anything. So it has to be how you feel yourself. So you have to take responsibility. You have to do it in a non-threatening tone of voice. And if you can't remove the anger from your voice or from yourself at that moment,
Make an appointment.
then you wait until you can. Because then you're not going to have a conversation in a correct, respectful way. So it's better to not say anything really wrong and angry, So just wait it out. So you have to select your words very mindfully, because if you start to be offensive, or if the speaker or the sender is very offensive, the other person has no choice but to start to be defensive.
Right.
And now there's no dialogue. So this is imago dialogue. You can't have a dialogue if somebody's defensive. So no blaming, no labeling, no mind reading, and no absolutes. I know that sounds like a lot of information, so I'm going to put it all in one sentence for you. Here's a great way to say something. I feel unloved when you don't talk to me. That's simple. It says, I feel, and it states the purpose. Not, you never talk to me when I come home. And that's because you're selfish and you don't love me. Right? So it says never. That's an absolute. Mind reading by saying you're selfish and you don't love me. Labeling, blaming. All of this is negative.
Okay.
You can't do that. And you also want to reinforce positive behavior when somebody does well. If I can mirror back to you what you say, you could say, thanks for hearing me. And that will reinforce good behavior. So that's a lot to digest there, I'm sure. Hopefully, if you didn't write down some of that, you can go back to the archives and get it, because this will save your marriage or save a relationship. It seriously will. But we're going to play a song right now. And I think Heidi wants to announce this song. But let me just say, because we're both from New York, too, and she didn't know this. This band actually was formed in Woodstock, New York. I just want to throw that in. But
This is Still the One from Orleans. Song.
is it? Okay, Orleans. Still the one.
Orleans, Still the One.
We've been together since way back when. Sometimes I never wanna see you again. still having fun, and you're still the one. You are still the one that makes me shout. You're still the one that I dream about. We're still having fun, and you're still the one. Still the one. You're still the one. We're still having fun, and you're still the one.
This is Joe Peroni,
And Heidi Mancini.
and you are listening to the From Grief to Relief show.
Yeah, I just want to say I picked that song "Still the One" because if you listen to the lyrics to this song, it starts out saying that, you know, things aren't always good all the time, but they still you know, care about each other through all the stuff, and that's basically what relationships are about. That when it all comes down at the end of the day, if you really care about each other, you work it out. You're going to go through some struggles,
Yeah, I thought it fit the show
and you
perfectly.
take things for granted for people.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
thought it fit in
obviously.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Hey, so just for fun, because you don't know some of the songs I pick, I just figured you'd like this. Going with the 70s theme there, I picked this song by Firefall, and I thought you might like it. But, you know, here's something strange about this band that I found out. You know, they have 25 previous members in this band. That's crazy. There's been a total of, like,
That's
over
crazy.
25 people in this one band. Anyway, Randy, can you hit that for a second, the Firefall song? Heidi doesn't know we're playing this.
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of. I knew it from the start. I saw your face and that's the last I've seen of my heart. It's not so much the things you say to me. It's not the things you do. It's how I feel each time you're close to me. It keeps me close to you. Whoa, you are.
All right, enough of that. We're not going to play that whole song. I just thought you might like that. Did you listen to the words?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way when we're arguing?
Well, you're supposed to, yeah. I mean, maybe not at the very exact second, but yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I like that song. It's
See,
a great
imagotherapy
song.
is what we're trying to show, though. In imagotherapy is every time there's a conflict, the resolution is supposed to make things better, so you understand each other more.
Mm-hmm.
Without any kind of conflict, that means that there's two people sharing one brain. You know,
True.
you might as well, again, you fall in love with yourself.
Go get a clone of yourself.
Yeah, so that doesn't work either. I mean, I love when they go, well, we've never had an argument. Well, that means you don't care enough.
True.
That's great, too. I never really argue with people I don't care about. Okay, so let's go over some characteristics of a conscious relationship. Some of this we've actually gone over, but I just want to summarize here so we can all learn something,
Stole my
including
pen,
me.
Joe. I'm writing all this down. Is everybody
No.
writing this down, too?
No, you got it on the archive. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 4 minutes. Turn the music up a little bit. I'm into music. I can't hear it. Number one, the partners recognize that their relationship has the capacity to heal their childhood wounds. Right? Mm-hmm. And you do that by having differences with the partners. And the partner's needs are the blueprint for their own personal growth. Mm-hmm. So if there's something that you need and I'm not giving it to you, I need to step up to the plate and be able to give it to you. Mm-hmm. And if I don't, it means I don't care enough, and that's the bottom line of that. Mm-hmm. And vice versa, by the way. Now, the partners target their behavior to meet the partner's needs. We just said that. It's what we call unconditional giving. Mm-hmm. In other words, you give without expecting back, but when both partners do that, they're both giving. So it doesn't matter. It's not what we call a quid pro quo, where you do for me, I do for you. Mm-hmm. You know, it shouldn't be that way. Accept each other's separateness and uniqueness. You can be separate but equal in a relationship, and that's the way it should be. When your needs are not being met, you're not allowed to withdraw, and you're not allowed to go outside the relationship. You bring a concern to your partner. I've heard people say, wow, you know, I had this problem. Her friends know the problem, her family knows the problem, and I know the problem last.
Oh, okay.
It should never be that way. It should always be the two partners in the relationship. No criticizing in the relationship. The question I would always ask is, where's the malice? The only time you should be in a bad situation if someone's directly trying to hurt you. If they're directly trying to hurt you, they don't love you anyway, and they shouldn't be in a relationship. Number 6, anger is expressed by appointment only. We've gone over that. Partners learn their own negative traits and do not project or provoke it into your partner. In other words, say something for me. Let's say I wish I made more money. I'm not going to look at you and say, well, you don't like me because I don't make enough money. You've never said that. So that's obviously my problem, not yours.
Right.
And so I would have to get over that. Each partner is responsible to develop their own lost or denied strengths. So anything that's weak in me, my responsibility to make it better. Your responsibility to point it out in a nice way.
Right.
And vice versa. And share responsibilities according to the time that each other has, the strengths that each partner possesses, and you don't separate the responsibilities based on gender. It's more of what your capabilities are. Partners should be able to direct energy outside of the relationship and not be told that, that they can't do that because of, say, some jealousy or some envy. So the partner should be able to care for others and the world. So that's also a good idea. Also, a big point here, you shouldn't have to leave a relationship to find yourself. You've heard people say
I hear that all the time.
Yeah, I need to leave the relationship to find yourself.
I need to find myself.
It's in my aloneness that I learned how to deal with people, because that's not really true. It's actually the opposite. What you do is you find yourself in the context of the relationship. It's that working things out with another who's other and separate from you, and working that out helps yourself become whole again. Helps
I have
out
to
your
agree with
childhood
that.
wounds. Yes,
I have to agree with that, because even though you and I have our disagreements, it forces me.
does.
It forces you to look at everything.
Yeah, I mean, you can run away.
Most times you just want to run. Okay, bye. I'm done.
Yeah. So I hope somebody learned something from today's show. I hope that was
There's a lot of good information. I learned some stuff today too.
Yes.
Jesus.
So how much time do we got? Oh, we are. Okay.
What?
Anyway, my name is Joe Peroni.
And Heidi Mancini.
And you have been listening to the From Grief to Relief show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will be back next week.
Thank you.
Views and opinions expressed on this program were those of the hosts and guests and did not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.